Welcome to the Griefy Girls Book Club, where every month we dive into a griefy read. From memoirs to biographies to fantasy, romance, and beyond. If it touches on grief, it's fair game. We're your hosts. I'm Kendall Rogers.
And I'm Rachel Dwyer. You might know us from our podcast, Two Girls with Grief. For us, reading is both healing and a powerful way to explore grief. So we knew it was time to give it the attention it truly deserves. Join us as we unpack our favorite moments, chat about upcoming reads, and even host interviews with guest authors. And you can bet we'll be yapping about our ever-growing TBR piles too.
So, whether you're here for the books, the banter, or a little bit of both, we're so glad to have you with us. Let's read, reflect, and grow in our grief together. Welcome back to this two-part series, and this is part two, covering both chapters 3 and 4 of C.S. Lewis's A Grief Observed.
Grief Observed is the grieving mind on display, a full of raw and transparent thoughts that grievers share after close losses. Lewis investigates questions around the meaning of both life and loss, faith and despair, and most importantly, how to find light in the darkness.
So we covered the introduction, the foreword, and chapters 1 and 2 last time. And this is just the ending of the book. This is just chapters 3 and 4. It's a very short book. You can get through this pretty quickly. After we wrapped up chapter 1 and 2, this is the immediate impact of loss. And you could tell he's like in the thick of the grievingness after losing his wife. But chapters 3 and 4 both feel like he's kind of trying to make sense of all of it. I don't know if that's what you got too.
I also feel like he just had really good, also like one-liners. Like I just felt like things that he said, I was like, I totally agree with that. Like those feelings. It's still very much like the rambling thoughts where you kind of have to like pick up the pieces. But I feel like it's the same. Like if I was like free writing just like my grief, there'd be parts that really stick out to you and then parts you're kind of like getting lost in thought. But I do think he brought up a lot of good points in chapters 3 and 4.
Yeah, it definitely feels like you're reading someone's diary and just the ramblingness and I don't know, he kind of gets into the point of spiraling later on in this chapter, which is such a pertinent thing I think grievers go through. But starting
Yeah.
from the very beginning of chapter 3, he talks about after the loss of his wife, which he refers to her as H in the novel. It's like living in a bad dream and that everything has lost its color. Did you feel that way when you were going through all your grief moments with your family and that it felt like a nightmare?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm just now trying to see life in color again and trying to see all the joyful moments. It definitely mutes everything because our happiness is intertwined with sadness. Every moment that happiness exists, grief also exists. And sometimes happiness doesn't even exist. So all you feel is grief. So the grief definitely can feel very gray and like there's no color and there's no point. So I definitely experienced that throughout many of the years of my grieving. And still to this day, still have bad days where you're just like, what does it even matter? It's so hard without them, And I think that's a hard thing to grapple with is like, how can I see my life in color again? But did you feel that with your dad?
Yeah, this lack of beauty in the world. And for the beauty I did see in the world, I didn't think it was important anymore if all you were is to die. And that was your purpose, was to eventually die. And thinking, what's the purpose of looking at everything beautiful if good people are not here anymore? And those were kind of like thoughts that I would reckon with a lot in what he calls the midnight moments, the mad midnight moments, in which he doesn't explain exactly what that is. But my interpretation of it was those like bouts of extreme anxiety and pain and tears are typically involved, where it's like this grief and death consumes you entirely. And for me, it typically happens at night, like when I was trying to go to sleep. But I think these can happen at any point where I feel like it's very high energy grief. It's very much grief being exploded out of you. And it's like, maybe like a panic attack or I don't want to say like, not like a tantrum because it's not like that, but it's like this overwhelmingness of emotion. Were those experiences that you had as well?
Yeah, I also saw the midnight moments as like my initial thought was the times that I lay in bed and you're decompressing from the day and there's so much quiet and you're just thinking like, how is this my life? How did it turn out this way? What the hell? Is this fair? And then you start missing them and you start spiraling a little bit. And there's times that like I have voicemails from my mom and I don't have voicemails from anyone else. But like sometimes I'll just listen to them. And then when I do that, I just automatically cry and am sad. And like I think those moments are really hard because you're like, you could have had the best day. And then as soon as the silence comes, a thought crosses your mind. And then all of a sudden you're sad again and you're feeling it. And you're like, I had a great day, but like it's ending in tears. And I don't think people see that grief part is like you could have the best day possible. And then in the back of your mind, you're like, I wish they were here. Or I wish I could tell them about it. And a really happy day can just lead to a really slow compression of just emotion and then sadness because your happiest moments, you want them there. You want to tell them about it. You want to share it with them. And I think those midnight moments are sometimes the hardest, where you're just alone and crying and just feeling the reality of them being gone.
Yeah, I like how he phrased it, the mad midnight moments, almost as it's a physical manifestation of grief and kind of what I think people think what grief is and how they imagine grief displayed. And then he talks about in those moments, he would rather be in the mad midnight moments than the dead flatness afterwards, in which he's comparing like two extremes of grief. You have these erratic, uncontrollable, high emotional moments of grief being like on display, taking your whole body's energy. And then to kind of defend that vulnerability you display, the dead flatness and the apathy you feel afterwards, or after a while of grieving, you kind of create this numbness to kind of protect that hurt, which is such a fascinating display in that he both can recognize these two extremes coexist within each other. After so many years, is this something that like happened with you and that kind of like apathetic part to defend your grief?
Yeah, I feel like I also see it as like when you pocket it away and you don't deal with it because it's a lot of emotion, but you're also just trying to like get by and do something. And I see those days as like the days that you just don't remember anything. Like the days that like it could be 2 years ago, 3 years ago, like you wouldn't be able to tell the difference because nothing important happened, nothing exciting happened. You're just kind of like trying to cope and float with the day. And I think those days are also, I think, some of the saddest because I feel like that's when it's really the gray days, right? Where it's like nothing is in color and you're just trying to make it through. You're just trying to be like, well, I'm still here, so I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep trying. But it's so hard. And I think those days are a little bit, maybe even sadder than the midnight moments because it's like almost like in a way you've given up a little bit. You know, you're just trying to just do it, but you're not overexerting yourself to like try to get to the happiness and you're not trying to feel the sadness. And I think that might even be more sad in ways. It's like you've given up. And I think a lot of grievers can feel that where it's like, well, what does this day matter to the next day? My loved ones aren't here. It's hard. It's sad. You kind of numb yourself. And I've never been on drugs, but I feel like that's what that feeling would be. And I can see why a lot of people go to that. It's like when the emotions are so high, it's like you want to numb it. And I can see where, unfortunately, where a lot of people go to that because it's such an immense pain. It's really hard.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's my view on how people manage their pain, whether it's internal or external, really changed when I lost my dad. And it reminded me, in a sense, where I think when I was younger, I thought that everything was more black and white than it was. And then when you lose somebody, you realize, like, oh, this is what extreme pain feels like. This is what extreme grayness feels like. C.S. Lewis has kind of touched on this interesting kind of, I don't want to say like a phenomenon, but it's a definite reoccurring trend in faith and Christianity and religious circles. Um, that he talks about, oh, he thought he knew what great sorrow was, and he thought he knew what pain felt like, but he was only imagining what that must be like in his life rather than actually really living that in a reality. And he says, if I really had cared about other people's sorrows, then why am I surprised when it came for me? In that, especially within the Christian faith, believing that kind of like suffering is a part of the gig. Like being a human, you're going to suffer. It's a part of like the raw deal humans have made.
Yeah.
Then he talks about, although in the church, you're often talking about the suffering, and you're often talking about people who are ill, and you're often talking about the love you're supposed to extend and the forgiveness you're supposed to have, but then it's happening to him. And he's like, why am I surprised? Is it because did I not really care before? Because if I did, wouldn't I have felt this great pain then as I do now? And a little tidbit he kind of tags on is like, only under torture does it bring up the truth, and only under torture does man find himself. And I think that's very fascinating that even as he is a proud Christian and a Christian apologist, he is reckoning even that he has viewed faith wrong this entire time, up until after his wife's death. And he's like, faith is very different than I ever thought it was before.
Yeah, I feel like you see either people like really lean into faith, or you see people that question everything and, kind of lean towards denouncing their faith because of the experience, because losing somebody is the worst pain you'll ever experience. And I think I have kind of been a little bit in the middle, where it's like, it doesn't make sense. And I really don't like thinking that someone had a big plan where this is what happened, where I lost my parents and my sister. And like, I don't want to think that's someone's plan. Like, you think I can handle it? I can't handle it. I don't want to handle it. That's not fair. And people say like, God knows your plan. It's bigger than you and all these things. And it's like, I can see where that can make you feel better, but that doesn't make you feel better. That makes you feel like someone's fucking cruel.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like there's like some grand scheme. And it's really hard to kind of go to like, good things are coming or good things are going to come. There's no bigger disappointment than having hope that your loved one will survive and they don't. And that feeling, unless you know it, you don't know just how bad it is. It's not like you applied for a job and didn't get it. It's not like you hoped this opportunity to come and it didn't. It's the fucking worst. It's the worst pain possible, where you're like, you just need to have faith and hope that it's happening. It's going to turn around. You're praying more than you ever prayed in your life. And then it just happens anyway. And some people might say it's the greater plan, but it's like, whose plan? Why is that a plan? Why do I have to experience that in this lifetime? Because some people don't, right? Some people never experience anything really hard. And it's hard to reckon with that. And I think faith in general, they always talk about the pain. I feel like there's a lot of emphasis on feeling that pain and whatever, but it's like, why do we have to go through that? Like, who says? Because not everyone does. Not everyone has to go through that pain. Yes, people lose people, but sometimes it's I would say like the natural order of things, that's still really hard.
Yeah.
But to lose them in a more your sickness and seeing someone pass and way earlier than you would expect, that's really hard. And I don't know how people don't question their faith, but I do see where it gives you comfort where there is no comfort, that there is some greater plan that you don't understand and it'll all work out.
Yeah. I found it interesting that in some sense, it's a little jarring to read someone in great pain and in great grief say, only under torture does a man find himself. And at first, I'm kind of resistant to even want to believe that or to take credit in that. But I look at myself and I'm like, did I understand more things about myself than I ever did? And in some sense, I realized my greatest wishes and my greatest disappointments and my greatest pains because of this experience. And I wouldn't want anybody else to have to go through that, but it opened my eyes of like the lengths I'm willing to go for somebody and the love that I have for somebody and the pain that I share for somebody is much larger than ever having to experience any type of grief before.
Yeah, you bring up the torture and does once a man like finds himself through that. Like we said, like we're completely different people now that we've experienced it, and I have grown a lot, but a lot of forced growth, right? Like it's not the natural progression of things. Like you have to figure out things since your dad passed away. I had to figure out things because I was so dependent on my parents and my sister. Then you're thrust into a world where you don't have the people that you depend on for everything. You have to grow as a person and like rise to the occasion. Not everybody does, but it's a really hard thing to jump up and all this forced change and all this continued change because like you're trying to feel safe and comfortable in your own life, but you have to constantly change to just even feel any type of levelness in your life where you don't feel like the floor is just collapsing underneath you. And it's a really hard thing. You have to go forward in that. And yes, there's a whole different version of you, but it's like you almost resent that person you had to become because it was so much easier being the person before, and that person doesn't have to deal with a happy moment turning into a sad moment. They don't have to deal with like the night time where you're just crying and you're sad. They don't have to deal with that. And that previous version, it was so much easier. Maybe I wasn't as deep or as emotionally developed of a person, but damn, I was happier. And it just felt easier. So it's like, yeah, I'm probably a better person now and I think about things differently, but I was still trying to be a good person before. I wasn't maybe as deep or, enlightened in some ways, but it's like, wow, I miss that just pure where a laugh would just be a laugh and a smile would just be a laugh and a good moment was just purely a good moment. So yeah, it brings out this whole version of yourself, but it's like I was also fine then. So I don't know. It's a hard to kind of grapple. Like I've seen someone say like he's so happy for the grief that he experienced because he's just a way better person. And I'm like, I would never say I'm thankful for the grief because that means that the person is gone. And I will never be thankful for that. Like no one can ever make me think that. I will never be thankful for that. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings on that.
Yeah, in the next part, C.S. Lewis is talking about both grief and faith and how, and he uses a lot of analogies in these later portions because I think these concepts are so cerebral. It's hard to conceptualize, especially considering he's like I don't want to say like a Christian celebrity, but like he was a big thought leader in the Christian space at the time. And he compares his faith prior to the loss of his wife, like a house of cards. And when she passed, the house of cards fell. And he saw himself like a child, and that his understanding of faith and understanding of God has been shattered, and that he's in the middle of a quote unquote tantrum. And I don't think it as like a toddler trying to be rebellious, but more like this great emotional output and this great emotional, like, I don't know how to understand everything that's happening. And he says, then after some time, I'm going to try and rebuild it again. And I'm going to try to restore my faith. And he's like, but I'm going to keep going through these cycles and over again. And he compares it to like grief being a World War I bomber circling around a city, just dropping bombs. It's not predictable. It's cyclical, but you don't know when it's going to happen again. And I have felt like that a lot when he says like, it's just random. Like these big bombs just drop out of your life. And you're like, again, like I thought I got over this. I thought I got through this. And here, this like bomb again, a new thing has dropped on me. I have to figure out. Like, is that similar for you?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of just little things and little painful things. And I think just there's stuff every day because you're like, it is this everyday struggle that they aren't here and you want to tell them things or you want their help or you just want their support. You just want them to say like, I believe in you or I'll help you or whatever. And they're not here. And some days you can hold off those feelings for a little bit or feel more happiness and sadness, but you don't know when something randomly is going to hit you like a bomb and make you feel really sad or make you just like randomly pour into tears. And that's really hard. Like you talked about with your car having to change like your car title. And I don't think people would see that as something that would make you break down. They're like, oh, it's just a thing. But it's like, it's more than just having to change a title. It's what it represents. It represents why you have to do it, who you can't call for help. Like it's a lot of things and people don't see those like one task could just represent so much that it feels so painful because usually they would be there to help or usually you could ask them for this. And without that, it's so hard and people don't get that. I definitely feel where like it's just unpredictable. You don't know how you're going to feel. And the same thing with just like anniversaries, death anniversaries, birthdays, whatever. You don't know how you're going to feel. And I tried to not put too much thought into it beforehand because I think that's where you get like anxiety of what is the day going to feel like? Is it going to feel extra sad? Am I going to feel this or that? And I try to not put so much pressure on that because you don't know what's going to come that day. You could feel totally happy on the day of. You're like, I just wish I was with my mom. You know, like you just don't know what's going to hit you. So it definitely is like that, where it's just like it'll just explode your life at any given time.
It
At any,
really will.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I thought after losing my dad, I would be kinder on the roads. And I have found like my road rage has exponentially risen. And I know it's not like a super great thing. And yes, I'm working on it, but it exactly what you meant. Like it's something that represents like, I'm like, oh my God, I've already gone through so much in life. Now I have to deal with assholes on the road. Like, are you fucking kidding? Like, this is just another thing on top of it all that just alludes to all this great emotional distress that you're in when you're grieving.
Yeah, it's just a whole other level of things. So I don't know. Grief is just weird. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's random. It's sad. And we just came off of like a heavy episode yesterday, so I feel like I'm feeling my emotions more.
Yeah,
So
for certain.
on our Two Girls with Grief podcast. So I feel like I'm feeling it extra.
The grief is very thick today.
It is.
um, and when talking about, obviously, when we're talking about two very different relationships, when he's talking about losing his wife, but we've lost family members. And so these are still very important losses and like life-changing losses, but it's a different type of love. But I still think this next point is relevant to mention in that he says bereavement is universal and it's an integral part of love. And in his sense, it's romantic love because he talks about regardless whether she passed now or she passed later, one of us was going to have to die first, and one of us was going to have to experience the great pain and grief for the other one. And it's kind of like who is going to take that bigger sacrifice for the other? Someone has to, regardless. Like someone is going to experience that pain and it's unavoidable. But is experiencing the pain the bigger sacrifice, or is the one dying first the bigger sacrifice? Like both are not fair and both is both painful and suffering. But in the thousands of years, like it's unavoidable. Like we'll all have to go through it. And it's something me and my brother and sister joke a lot about. I always said like I'm the oldest, so I should die first. And they were like, no, I want to die first because they don't want to grieve again. They don't want to have to go through that deep grief and pain. And, obviously you can't choose when people die. Things just happen on its own. But if a choice was made and if I could have it my way, I think I'd rather experience both the grieving my brother and sister so they don't have to grieve twice. So in their sense they would want to pass first. They wouldn't have to experience that great pain. I love them enough that I would experience this pain again so they wouldn't have to.
I don't think I think about that too much. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not really worried about when I go. I just feel like when I think of that in a sense, it's like, oh, I'll be reunited with so much of my family. I'm not really thinking about the sadness leaving behind.
Mhm.
I'm thinking about, I don't know. I don't want to go, but I'm just saying like it sounds peaceful as well. Like I don't see it as this huge big thing anymore because of my experience. But I would prefer not to lose anyone close to me ever again. I feel like I've done enough. I don't want to experience it. So I'm sorry to whoever else, but that's I can't plan it, but I don't want to mourn anyone else. Sorry.
Well, like you and I were talking yesterday that our views on dying have changed and that we're not scared of it. I think in a way
Yeah.
that I was really scared before after losing someone, that fear that, and C.S. Lewis mentions it like this, like, I'm not afraid of God because I know that he's good, but like, have you ever been to the dentist? Like, there's this like residual, like, I really don't want to do it though.
I feel when I feel like I experienced so much worry. I used to just like when my mom wouldn't answer my call. And this is like like when I was in middle school. I would freak out. I'd sometimes call her like 10 times and she'd be like, what? Like, she'd be like, why are you calling me so much? And I'm like, I just need to make sure you're okay. And there's like that fear of just like something could happen. Now that I feel like the worst has happened, I just feel a lot of peace in that sense where it's like, I don't know if Yeah, I don't worry about it. The only thing I worry about is, like, my dog wouldn't understand, and he's, like, literally obsessed with me. I think that's the only thing I worry about is, like, he
He would
he
definitely
needs me,
convert.
and I that's other than that, I feel like I don't know, I just, like, I would see my sister I get to hug my sister again or my mom, and it's like, I'm not, like, running towards it or anything. I don't, like,
Yeah.
do anything, risky. Yeah, it's not, like, this scary thing to me anymore. They're around me, and I will feel them again one day. Yeah, I feel like it is, like, a peaceful thing where, like, you know, they're there. They're there, and I've always wanted to be where they are. I don't know, I'm not scared of it, but, yeah, my dog, I don't wanna say he goes before me because I don't wanna do that either. I don't know. So, I just you just, like, die peacefully together somehow.
Like in the Notebook.
Yeah, we just hold my hand is we're hitting paws in hand, and we just when it's time, we go together. That's how I hope it happens.
Yeah, there's a quote in Harry Potter, and it's I don't know if it's, like, my favorite death quote, but it's one that I think of because I think people who are not grieving think that dying and grieving is, like, within the same conversation, and even in this book, he's talking about his wife who is dying, and she has a very vastly different experience with approaching death than he is about her dying, and it warrants 2 very different conversations, like, the people who are experiencing the grief versus the person who is actually dying, and even I think later on, she says, like, this really sweet thing that I mean, not only probably a little bit healing for him, but then I was like, that's just such a touching thing for her to acknowledge in, like, her hours of almost dying and approaching death, and, um, Dumbledore says at some point at the very end of, like, the very first book that death is nothing but the next great adventure, and I it's soothing to me to think that my dad is on this next adventure in life and that instead of something being so, like, dark and scary and incomprehensible, it might be the best thing, and I could never comprehend or experience.
Yeah, for some reason, that makes you think of just there's, like, the sadness you experience as the person losing somebody, but then I think having to take a step back is, like, I wasn't the one that was hospitalized all the time. I wasn't the one attached to tubes. I wasn't the one that went through a coma or had to go do chemo or had to do this or that or had I wasn't skin and bones. I wasn't all these things. I didn't have flare-ups. I didn't have all this stuff. I never experienced that type of pain,
Yeah.
and I think it's hard because it's, like, once they're gone, I don't think people are focusing on, like, they might have went through a hard journey to even get to where they were, and then they still pass away, and there's a lot of fighting, like, for their life and, you know, trying to be quote unquote strong and handle all that and the pain and all this where it's so difficult and trying to be optimistic. There's so much pain with that and thinking about what they went through that it's like you almost have to, like, humble yourself a little bit. You're like, I didn't actually have to go through that part. I just had to be there for them. And it's hard to reckon those two things. It's like they went through so much and you were there, but, like, it wasn't your actual pain, but then the pain of them actually being gone is really, really hard. It's I don't know, it's a weird thing when you see your family member so sick, you're like, I want this to work out, but you also know, like, it's really hard and their body is failing them, and what are you supposed to be hoping for? Like, a miracle that somehow their body just goes back to normal or whatever, and sometimes stuff like that happens, but it's hard because when you see someone suffering so much, it's like it's hard to think of yourself in that moment when you just see them battling it out and having a hard time and just in pain. So it's just like a weird two worlds of, like,
Yeah.
trying to be there, but also not trying to make it all about you, but then that is also about you. And it's weird. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's such a difficult balance, and it warrants these 2 different parts of grief, and he acknowledges this in the book and that there's, like, the parts of us now, like, the parts of us on this podcast right now trying to reckon with our grief and still trying to build a nice life and a life that is, like, peaceful and happy and something everybody deserves. And then there's the moments where he calls it the young grief comes out, and it's bitter and it's mean and it's cussing at the sky and it's nightmares and it's the constant tears. And he's like, and this just repeats, like this cycle of trying to comprehend and reckon with our grief and be self-reflective and to be like graceful and forgiving with ourselves and each other going through these circumstances. And then we all have that. I've been calling it like the tinge in my chest when I feel that like, oh, that's painful in my heart. Like I feel it in my
Yeah,
lungs.
like deep down.
Yeah. But then there's like the time with the car title just a few days ago where I was like, I was mean and I was yelling and I was crying and I was angry and I was a little like Tasmanian devil running around. And it was like, all beware, like don't get in her way. But it's still so even I in the moment was like, this is coming out of a griefy place. Like this isn't coming out of because that's me. It's coming out of a place because I feel really hurt right now.
A lot of things come from a very griefy place.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of things go back there. You're like, yeah, that was my sadness. That was my grief.
He does he doesn't end the chapter with this, but I want to go back to it because it is like this little nice thought of that even in the thick of all these bad things happening to him. And I think if he was listening to the podcast, he would probably relate to so many things we were talking about. And he mentions that when he began to appreciate the good things that still existed in the world, that she began to appear in those good things. And it reminded me of the way we talk about nature being so healing for us and these moments where we see our people in a small little glimpse. It's like a spirit or an aspect of them came back for a second. And we got to see like their presence or their impact on the world again. Even like you had sent me this very sweet thing that your sister's friend sent you. And I not even knowing your sister, so much like, I'm gonna cry right now. Like so much sadness that she's not here and so much love for someone I never even knew, you know? And I was like, wow, look at all the beautiful things and all the beautiful impact that she made in just one person's life, you know? And I was like, wow, I could see the goodness in her through the goodness she gave to somebody else.
So we're making these life books about someone that passed away. I'm making one about my sister. Kendall's making one about her dad. And my sister's boyfriend at the time submitted a story. And it wasn't really like one story. It was like their story. And the reason I really wanted that in the book, one, because they were together for like 6 years or something like that. Or even longer maybe. But it was that so much of her life was spent with him and they lived in New York together. And I don't know the side of her that's like a partner, really. You know, like I've seen them together and all this stuff, but it's like I never experienced that from her. I know her as the older sister that took care of me and helped me with everything. But you see a different side to somebody as like a caring person and a loving person and just the differences of it. And I just feel like I missed so much of her New York experience and her New York life that it was nice to be able to picture it in my head of their life together. And I see like how pivotal New York was there for them when they lived there. I think that's all you can really hope for is that you make that big of a impact on one person. You don't have to impact everybody. You have to just impact the people that matter and that you made a good impression on them. And yeah, it was one of those things where it's like you just feel that love. I think as you talk to more people and just share more, it's like you feel people's pain and their love and their struggles in this. And it's like, it's a bond where I feel like every time we talk to somebody about grief at all, it's like, I feel like we're good friends. You know, if we share that, it's like I feel a kindred spirit to you. And I think that's part of like how we became close so quickly is like we just share the deepest parts of our grief. And when you get it, you just like bond over that. And it is a beautiful thing. I was like, it's not my story even. I mean, it's their story. I woke up to that at 6 a.m. yesterday and I cried. It was just like a beautiful story of their story that I feel like was really missing from that book. So I'm excited that it is included in that. When I get the final product, that will be in there.
Yeah, it was really lovely. So that sums up chapter 3, and now we're on the last and final chapter, in which this one seems more focused on kind of what we have been reckoning with all last season of finding joy and looking for the light in all this. And so he starts the chapter off saying that like sorrow, being sorrow, sorrowness, it's not a state of being, but it's a process. And I thought that was like, wow, what a way to kick off the chapter and saying that you are not, yeah, you are a sad person, but you're sad because you're going through something. The sadness is a part of the process in which you're unfortunately having to like go through and deal with.
Yeah, I think it's nice to think of it that way, like it's not you.
Mhm.
And when people say like, "Oh, grief is your whole personality," it's like, well, it's kind of a little bit, not solely, but it's always there. It's something that you can't run from. I think it's nice to think about it as it's a process and like, sorrow is a state, not a process. But like, I think it's hard for the sorrow not to just always be there because I feel like that is the hard part. I don't know if I agree that it's just like it's a part of you. It's always with you from that moment forward after you lose somebody. That pain is just there and it's hard to ebb and flow without it. It always, every moment can be tainted by grief. And I don't even know if you have to look at it as tainted, as just like, I don't know, it's like beautiful to be loved that much or to love someone that much that for every beautiful moment you wish they were there and you long for them. I think there's also like a sad, poetic beauty about that. But I wish it was something that you could drop off sometimes and just like not worry about it creeping up. But I don't know that you can. Like, that's a really hard thing to deal with.
Yeah, it leads into this next thing. And I was thinking specifically when I visited you in San Francisco and we went to the crab sandwich place and we went to the meadery. And as we were driving up there, we took this like beautiful, like, I don't know, back road, like through the forest, through the
Yeah.
vineyards. And it was like every new portion was this new thing that I was like marveling about. And I was like taking pictures left and right. And I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And I was thinking of literally that experience when I was reading Grief is a Long and Winding Valley and thinking that every curve that we took, I was looking at a new thing and like new rivers and new little lakes and new parts of the city. And it was a new view. And then in that comparison that he's bringing up, it's also new challenges and new insights. And it's like if you're on this road of grief, you're just on this winding path. It's not straight, and you're going to just come up to different things every time as you're on this.
I think that's a beautiful image of seeing it that way. And there's more beautiful moments and then there's like it's like, everything is a new stage and as years progress, it feels different, but it's just unknown. Like I'm still figuring it out. Who
We're not
knows what I
professional.
feel? Yeah, I'm figuring out of like what it feels to me in my everyday life and how to not make it feel so heavy and so I don't want it to feel like it's an umbrella over my life, like a shadow over my life. I want it to feel like it is a piece of me that's always there, but I can experience more happiness and sadness. And I do feel that, but it's not, some days it's not that, and I think it just like it ebbs and flows. And there's some days that maybe you're more excited about the pretty view and the pretty point that you're at. And other days you're kind of taking a turn for the worst.
Yeah, and he goes a lot into how to love God and find peace in your faith in a new way. Because in some sense, it's almost like a new view of Christianity that he's having after she passes. It's clearly not the same thing he was experiencing before. It's some new understanding that he's come across. And he touches on that in a portion of the chapter, but I want to go to the part where he talks a lot about the love he has for her and how does he get back to the point of being with her again or having that love that he has with her. And he says it in almost every different way. And I feel like every griever, and I know I do this, I definitely put my dad up on a pedestal. I definitely I mean, he was a great person alive. He did have his faults, don't get me wrong, but I don't focus on the faults as much after he's passed. I really try to focus on like the good things and like really put him in like this angelized view, which sometimes it's just easier to view the people we lose that way. Like sometimes it's easier to just not have to reckon with those parts that are hard. That might have been the hard parts to love them, but like the easier parts, I guess, like the faults are dead and gone, but it's the good parts they left here on Earth that we want to hold on to so badly.
I mean, no one's perfect, right? Like,
Right.
and I think a lot of times it's like when you look at them, you think of them in their best form. That's the memories. I don't think at the point if they're gone to think about like the little things that didn't work out. But there's a scale, right? If they were
Yeah.
someone that like hurt you or whatever or more, like there's a difference in that. Like you don't have to just remember them as this perfect form. If they were actually a bad person, that's a different conversation, right? Like some people are like, "Oh, don't disgrace their memory." And it's like, well, some people do deserve to have their memory disgraced. Some people do deserve to not go down like that. Like I just saw there's like this woman that was leaving her husband and then he murdered himself and her. His funeral was all these beautiful photos of and like some photos of him and his wife. I saw people have a problem with that and it's like it's true that feels wrong, why should someone be honored like that? And I get like they're more than that instance, but that instance is really big. And I don't think that was a one-time thing for that to be the situation, right? I don't think that's how it goes. Could be wrong, but it's a hard thing because in that case, like F them, you're going to be remembered for that, right? But it seemed like his family is not trying to remember him as that person, and I think that's what's hard. I think if someone is just a good person but flawed, which is everybody, I think it's nice to just think about their nice things. What is the point of thinking about like, oh, they would snore, so like or like just or something like sometimes won't take out the trash. Like, what is the point of thinking about that, right? Like, why is your brain even going there? There's no point of dwelling on things that don't really matter. There's a difference of their character. Have you heard of everything happening with Twitch and Alison Holker?
Mm-mm.
So Twitch committed suicide, I think a year ago or 2 years ago, and it took everyone by storm because he's always seen as this really happy guy. He was like the DJ dancer on the Ellen show. Like he was just
I was
known.
thinking like the platform Twitch, like the
Oh
gamer
no, no,
platform.
yeah. No, and he was just known for like his happiness and joy. And his wife recently just came out with a book and she said that she's going around saying like he had a drug problem and that he got essayed as a kid and like she found his journals and she's sharing that information. And she's saying like, well, I'm just trying to help someone not suffer in silence. But it's like that feels wrong. I think everyone knows that something was wrong if he committed suicide, like something was wrong with his mental health. I think, and people like don't hurt his character. And I think in this case, that is very much true. It's like you can share your story without throwing him under the bus or like sharing his personal diary or whatever. I think that's his choice. It kind of makes you think of things like Anne Frank. I wouldn't want my journal to be found and posted everywhere. I still feel bad for Anne Frank. I don't know. She's like walking around like, why is everyone reading a freaking diary? It's a hard situation. And for that, it's like he was facing all these demons potentially, who knows? His drug panel came out, he wasn't on anything. So for her to come out and say all these things that she said she didn't know about when he was alive, it makes it question like if you didn't know about it firsthand, you can't really speak about it afterwards. And I see a lot of his friends and family being really upset because it's like, why are you bringing this up? Like, what is the big overall goal here? It's the sensationalized lines and stuff. And it's like, is that really supporting him? Is that really loving him? It's like, you don't know for sure anything, like you didn't experience it. He didn't tell you. So is it really your story to tell in that case? And I think that's where how you remember somebody is different because now if you Google his name, I'm sure that's always going to come up. And it's like, is that fair? It's like his own private battles. Not everyone's stuff needs to be out there. If he decided to come out with it, then that's different. So I think it's just like a very complicated issue, but it's hard to see like where her positive was coming out of.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a cat that jumped on me.
It was like a cat, just like it looked like a snake, just like Arabian Nights.
Yeah, and to your point, it is such a complicated thing. C.S. Lewis mentions that in the most of the book, he has put her up on this pedestal and angelized her, but he's like, I want to be honest in that she did have flaws, and I did know her on the truest nature, and that we did have fights and we did have arguments and she did have her little quirks, though he describes her almost like a garden of intricacies, and that there are beautiful parts to a garden and nourishing parts to a garden. And then there's also like, things that are decaying underneath the dirt or worms or like bugs, and that all of that complexity and that intricacy is what made her so special to him, and that he loved the beautiful parts of the garden that she like represents, as well as like the parts that, might be not so perfect or might be more like dirty or uncouth or whatever. And that he loved all parts of it. And he's like, that's in essence, that's unconditional love that he is really embodying there with her. And I just thought like, oh my God, that's really sweet to think of her like in a sense, like in you could see him trying not to objectify her. I can understand that. It's hard to do that, I think, after the sense when someone dies and that we only have their memories left.
Yeah.
They
And
themselves are not here anymore.
you can only hold on to so much. So it's like, what do you
Yep.
want to hold on to?
Yeah.
It's just it's a weird thing. You can really only handle like some of the memories that I want to hold on to dearly are gone. Like they pass out, they like swim out of my mind. I try to bring them back. It's a very difficult thing to come to terms with, but it's hard. You can't remember everything, but just remember them as like what they meant to you and how you made them feel. And I think that's the most important thing to remember somebody as. And if you love them, you're going to think about them in that way for the most part. And then there's, complicated grief and all that stuff, which is different. And I don't have that experience because it wasn't like everything was perfect, but at the end of the day, we're my people. I know that they love me and I love them. And so I don't have any like complicated feelings with that, but I can see where that is harder to do. I don't think that necessarily just because you're dead means that you need to be perfect or like people need to see you as perfect is like, I think the main thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And there are some other like good points in this chapter, but I want to wrap it up with these last two things in the final chapter that really embodies his unconventional view now, his unorthodox view of both religion and faith, but also love and grief. In that one line she tells him, I think to like a cleric or like a church elder or whatever, in that clearly he's reckoning with this distraught grief he's going to carry and knowing that she is about to pass soon. But she says, how wicked would it be to call the dead back? I'm at peace with God. And he says that she smiles, but not to him, and that she is okay with this next phase of life that she was going to go into. And that he had to recognize that this is her life and this is something she's battling cancer. Like what can you do, right? Like there's only so much you can do with cancer. It's why everybody like who has knows somebody with cancer, it's like everybody does. Like it's like why the fuck cancer thing is so big, because it's that painful.
Yeah.
She recognized that. Granted, this was probably I think in the 30s or 40s. So this was a while ago. It wasn't like they had as much advanced treatment as they do today, but that she knew the end of her life was coming and that she was okay with that. And this kind of calls back to earlier in the book, and that she's like, I have lived a beautiful, full life. You still deserve to go live a beautiful, full life too.
I think that's just a beautiful thought. I think as a griever, it's hard to want that. I'm trying to channel that energy now of like, how can I still have a beautiful life? What can I do? It brings like a similar amount of joy. Like I think of it as like, they say grief is love with nowhere to go, but it's not just like your love. It's the love that you received as well. And that's so much love combined that you don't experience. And it's like, that is a love that you're without, right? It's like that whole combination of love that makes your life feel off kilter, that makes your life feel less colorful and less joyful. And it's like, how can you channel that love back to yourself? How can you channel that love back into making yourself feel better? And whether that's through finding new hobbies and bringing new friendships and all these different things, like how can I make my life feel like it has that amount of love again? And you have to channel that back to yourself and figure out ways for that love to express itself in different ways for yourself, I think is a really hard thing to do, because it's like you're trying to protect that grief and bring it back to yourself in a way that wasn't how it was expressed before. It was just the love between two humans. But now you're like, I need that love for myself because I feel so off and off kilter. It's a really hard thing to do and like get it back. And it's such a work in progress. Like I'm still working
Yeah.
towards that and it's difficult. And it's hard to figure out like sometimes you're just like, does this even matter? What makes sense? Like it's really hard to question that. And then who I'd ask, like, does this make sense? Do I keep doing this? There's no one there to ask that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like everything with grief, such a complicated matter. And I don't have the book in front of me, but he ends the book with this Italian quote. And I'm not going to attempt to read Italian unless you do, Rachel, and you want to try to
No,
say that Italian phrase.
I definitely, if we have any Italians listening, I don't want to piss them off.
Right. At first, I thought it was Latin. And then when I Googled what it meant, it said it was Italian. And being that it's Italian, it's actually a reference to Dante's, what is Dante's book? Inferno? Or this one was Paradiso, I think the third one out of his trilogy. But he's referring back to, it was an identical translation to this, that she is returned back to the eternal fountain. Dante, I believe in the book, lost his wife, Beatrice, and she returned back to that eternal fountains of divine presence. And C.S. Lewis is calling the same thing of resembling Dante and his wife resembling Beatrice, and hoping that you go back when you die to the place where you began, kind of like when you start at birth, that this divinity that exists outside the realm of human existence, and that kind of almost like a prayer saying like she'd return back to that eternal place, and kind of like an existential like way to end the book,
Yeah.
but also this like sweet, I feel like almost like this, he'll always deal with this grief and he'll always love her and always miss her. But like this sweet send off in that he isn't in a toxic place with his grief anymore. He's in a place where he's trying to embody that goodness that she existed in the world and do the same for himself.
Yeah. I do feel like they're somewhere nice or somewhere peaceful or whatever. And I've got to psychic medium and kind of firms like they're just like, I don't know, they're in a good place wherever they are. But it is hard because like they're not in my place. They're not where I can see them and they're not where I am. And you don't want them to be in pain anymore. You don't want them to suffer. But I don't know, their place belongs next to me. And I think it's a hard thing, but you want them to be, I don't know, in a peaceful place where they can still experience joy and happiness and some type of form of the afterlife or whatever it is. So it's just a weird thing. It's like you want them to be happy, but how am I the happiest that I could be without you? And that's like an impossible thought.
Well, that's it. That's a grief observed. We covered all 4
Yeah.
chapters. Rachel, what do you think of the book?
I feel like it brought up a lot of good points. And I think it's a type of book that you have to almost read it the way that we did, and that we pulled out points and discussed it and thought about what it meant to us and what it brought out to us. Because I think if you just read it one way through, things will stick out to you and you might have some good quotes and things, but I think you'll sit with it as much as you would if you don't like discuss it out loud. I feel like you could read this book and maybe walk away with nothing because it's like it's so dense in some ways. Like he's kind of just talking, just kind of like free thinking. So almost you're like, what are you even saying sometimes? You know, you have to like kind of sit with the lines and sit with what he really means. It's one of those books where it's like you can get a lot out of it, but you have to, I feel like almost like in a way of like a school book. It's not just like a happy go lucky book. There's no plot. You know, it's not like a book where there's like anything. It's like a journal. And so I think you really have to go into it with a mind that you're going to dissect this book and pull away the observations. But I could see where this book is like, if you're not doing that, you're like, what did I just read? Nothing stuck with me. But I think doing it this way, you feel the profoundness and how much it brings up of different emotions and different thoughts. It connects to your own grief. But I think it is like a book that you have to sit down with and really, you know, highlight and take notes and that type of thing to kind of sit with it, like almost like journal entry, you know, where you kind of sit with it that way. So I think there was a lot of really good things and really good deep talking points from it. But yeah, I think you just have to go with it with the right expectation to know what to take away from the book.
Yeah, 100% agree. So my book that I had, I bought pre-owned, and I could tell whoever owned the book because they were writing in the book prior to me and highlighting different things, that either they know someone who had experienced grief or they were younger and forced to read the book and they didn't have any grief experience themselves. So it's interesting that when I was reading the book through both my own lens, and I read this for the second time, but through someone's lens who doesn't have any grief experience, it's almost like the meanings of the book change entirely. Like the book itself reveals itself to grievers in a sense that it doesn't reveal itself to somebody who's not grieving. And I thought that was
I could see
fascinating
that.
that there are things that grievers like unlock or discover that a non-grieving person wouldn't.
Yeah. Also, I don't think, I mean, I think I read books before, and maybe even not before I got really in touch with my grief feelings, that had grief elements that didn't touch me the same way. I feel like if you read a book like 7 Year Slip, which I'm going to put on our roster at some point, it's a book where I feel like if maybe you haven't experienced grief, maybe you don't feel the profoundness of the words. And yes, there's like cute romance, there's like some magic element, but I don't think you feel the type of like punch in the gut, but also like connection if you haven't experienced it. And I think there's books that you might reread, like you're rereading Harry Potter. I think there's books that you might read that you're like, wow, I didn't connect to those emotions because they were different back then. So I think there's a difference of that. Yeah, I think it's like sometimes depending on your life and your experience, you're gonna connect to different books differently. And a book that really moved me might not. Someone that's not grieving might be like, well, that was just a little dark and not my thing. I didn't enjoy it.
Another thing of the book, I mean, this might be one of our first kind of like religious faithy books,
Uh-huh.
which we try our best to keep this very open for everybody to get from because grief is universal and grief doesn't happen to just one viewpoint or one perspective. It's something that happens to everybody regardless of faith or religion or lack thereof. I like this book in essence because he is confronting his own faith and what he thought of his own faith in a very unorthodox way. I think it's great for both Christians and non-Christians alike to read just because it's a very human look at grief, and it's a very raw book.
Yeah.
And his call from the very first chapter, that deep, dark chasm of grief, is something we all feel with grief as grievers. And it pulls back to, I think, that song, Hallelujah, which is a lot of, religious groups take that song and use it as a song about faith towards God. And that's great. But there's lines in the song Hallelujah that show that like praise and glory and love and all this isn't seen by God to those who do it perfectly. It's seen by God, those who do it in their most broken states. And so like the line, it's not some pilgrim who sees the light. It's not love is not a victory march. It's the cold and broken hallelujah. And this feels like this book is that one line, a cold and broken hallelujah of just trying to do your best in that really dark point.
Yeah. And I think even if you don't have faith, if you're not someone that is a believer in anything, you still believe in like maybe the universe or like something. Grief makes you question what is
Mhm.
the point of life? What is the point of anything? And that is something that you can have a crisis with, whether it is faith based or not. It's really like grief makes you question things. So whether you believe in religion or not, maybe you're not questioning your faith, maybe you're just questioning existence and why do things happen. And I think you could look at it with a not religious lens and still get things out of it. And it doesn't come off as like preachy or like a book that you're like, you need to
No,
lean
it
on your
doesn't.
faith for this or that. It's a lot of it is him questioning his own faith based system and how to proceed and how to keep in his faith when he's in so much pain, and what does the religion do for him in this instance, and what does his faith do for him. So I think you can read it as a very impartial way because it doesn't like push it on you or get preachy or anything like that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So, what would you rate this for your griefy score?
I would say it's like a 3 because it wasn't a book that made me cry or anything, and that's when it's something that like feels like a stab in the heart. That's where I would go for a 5. 4 would be like maybe there's some tears or whatever. I don't think this book made me sad. I think it made me ponder it was just a book that made me really sit with feelings and kind of digest it and think about how I feel about it personally. So it was more a book where, like, yes, there is like things that bring out sadness, but it wasn't anything that made me cry. It was just a book that I had to sit with and like digest my feelings. So it wasn't a gut punch. So for me, it'd be like a 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it's either like a 2 or a 3 in that it doesn't bring you to tears by any means, but yeah, you're right. It's definitely a more thinky type of book. It's a thinky book in regard to grief, and it's almost like this little textbook of C.S. Lewis's ramblings about grief, and in some sense, it's just something to make almost like a companion to grief and that someone else has felt that darkness in that scary place too. So thank you so much for joining us for another week on the Griefy Girls Book Club. We hope you stick around for the next book. And if you want to join the conversation and discuss more about the books that we're reading, you can find us on Fable, an app that you can download where you can track your reading and join other book clubs. And you can find us at Griefy Girls Book Club in the search.
And if you made it this far, we'd appreciate if you could please rate, share, subscribe to our show. It really helps us get the word out. And that way we can just keep reading griefy books with you guys.
Yay! See you next week.
Bye.